COVID-19 has now transformed into a global pandemic. It has affected our economies, our jobs, the stock market, and our way of life. As it brings uncertainty to many parts of our lives, this series is our conversations with the companies, the players, the decision makers, to help us make sense of it all. Welcome to COL Conversations. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of COL Conversations. And one of the greatest areas in life that we've had some massive shift in is food. And today we're fortunate enough to have with us one of the listed companies in the full-service restaurant industry who can give us an insight on how their business is operating during this pandemic. And one of the unique characteristics of their product is that it can be eaten with every meal of the day, like whether breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Ladies and gentlemen, this is pizza. And joining us today is the President and CEO of Shakey's Pizza Asia Ventures Incorporated, or Pizza, Mr. Vic Gregorio. How are you, sir?
Hello everyone. Hello, Ed. Nice to be here, and thank you for the invite.
Yes, sir. So first of all, how is Pizza dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic, sir?
Let me begin by saying this is definitely new territory, right? This is something that caught us by surprise, but everybody in the industry, I think, has accepts the fact that things will change from here on. No? We were all set for the year. It started very well, and if I would like to take this chance to remind everybody, Shakey's was doing great for the last 16 years, double-digit growth, top line, bottom line, consecutively, and we were excited for 2020. Until March 16, when the government issued these quarantine measures. So the business drastically changed. At one point, we had to prioritize first the safety of all our guests and employees and facing the unknown. But since March 16, I'm very happy to tell you guys that as of today, May 14, we have already reopened 200 plus of our store network. So that's the biggest share, roughly around 70%, 74% of our store network. And only the branches in the main malls remain closed. We expect to open them within the next 2 weeks. Okay, because by then the quarantine guidelines would allow these major malls to reopen, and we will be planning to reopen alongside them. I guess that's where we are right now. Operations continue to be limited, only to delivery and carry out. All dine-in is forbidden. That said, we have the advantage of having well-established multiple brand channels. Shakey's has that unique advantage, I guess, ever since that we generate revenues from different channels. Dine-in was the biggest before this COVID pandemic. Dine-in was almost 50 to 60% of our sales, but we have a very strong delivery platform, carry out, and even catering and functions. And Shakey's is actually celebrating its 45th year anniversary in the Philippines. We first opened in 1975. So the legacy that the brand has built through the years, 45 years, has always been very strong, and one of the trusted brands by the household. So it's a household name. Our awareness, so 99.9% in the country. And then the team was always focused on delivery. Our core product being pizza. It is truly a delivery product. Okay. Pizza is the #1 most delivered items worldwide. So we continue to strengthen our delivery platform year on year, and have invested heavily in the digital space for the last 2-3 years. We're closely working with aggregators. We started working with them last year, and Shakey's has become one of the preferred partners of the leading aggregators, Grab and Food Panda. So we enjoy good working relationships with them, preferred rates compared to the small one-offs and smaller restaurant chains. And we now are looking at to address the new normal. A team is working nonstop now to perfect our curbside pickup operations. So that's some of the things we have done. But the big game changer, more than anything else, would be on the health and safety of running an operations or running the restaurant chain. For me and for our board, safety is primordial. We see this as the new differentiating and the thing that will make a chain go bust or continue to grow. The consumer's mindset have changed, and in response to the crisis, what we have done is first take stock of what are the basic rules that have to be in place before we even open our first store. And so we optimized, streamline our menu. I also want to be able to simplify the operations. We limited the menu offering and SKUs to the biggest hits, the most popular and in demand core products of Shakey's. That will allow us to just focus on the key products and be able to make sure they're done right, they're safe, and they're really of high quality. And a lot of investment had to be put on protective gear. You know, if there is a front line in the medical field, there is also a front line in the restaurant business. So every single staff has to be rebriefed on how to execute the task, given in the new situation, social distancing, frequent, even more hand washing. So they're timed not more than every 30 minutes, whether they did something or not, whether there was a ordered transaction or not. They have a protocol to make sure they follow. And all of this, we made sure had to meet the standards that the government and World Health Organization requires. So these are some of the things that has been going on since the start of the ECQ.
Okay, sir, you've when you mentioned that you've already opened 74 to 75% of your stores, that's 200. I'm not really surprised, because most of my interactions with pizza, I think 99% are really delivery. You know, I never really went to a pizza store and ate there. I always had it delivered. So that being said, sir, are there other changes in your operations versus when we entered enhanced community quarantine?
Well, after the quarantine, the biggest difference was there was no dine-in. Okay, the delivery and carry-out channels are what we offer, and everything has to be redesigned based on that. Our manning, our production team had to be retooled so that they can address the increase in these categories, because these two categories used to just provide 30 to 35% of the total sales for each store, and now without dine-in, they have doubled the very least on this, and on the average, the delivery business has actually, I think, tripled on the since the beginning of the ECQ. I think it just goes to show that the Shakey's pizzas have always been in the minds of consumers when it comes to delivery. Even before ECQ, the Shakey's delivery platform was one of the more robust delivery programs in the industry. And we have our hotlines, we have our website ordering, we have our mobile apps. They continue to evolve. We always aim to make it frictionless and very convenient. So all of those investments we've made really came to fore during the last few weeks. So these are the things. And again, like I mentioned earlier, the safety mindset, which was already something we were proud of. If you remember, we had the cleanest stores, the cleanest restrooms, like that, and the way we focus on the product handling and production. we realized we just have like to make it 3 times more
Mhm.
stricter with
That's
this
right.
with this coronavirus thing, because it's different. Okay, transmission is quite easy, so that has been a major change also in the
Mhm.
store operations.
S- okay, sir. Let's talk more about your stores, sir. How many are company owned and how many are franchised out?
Before the crisis, as a group, we would have about close to 280 stores.
Mhm.
We were aggressive in the last 3-4 years, right? We were opening more than 20 stores every year, or
Mhm.
more than 10% of the network. And we were all excited with the acquisition of Peri Peri. So
Mhm.
we have about 50 to 55% of the operational stores are company owned. It's a very close, and we expect that to go to almost 50-50 by the time the franchise mall stores open in and outside Metro Manila. So it's safely said that 50-50.
Okay, sir. Now that we're talking about, of course, the reopening of your stores, are there any major factors of or constraints in opening more stores? What are the current challenges that you face in opening more stores, sir?
The biggest challenge now for every operator or every restaurant chain now would be the big uncertainty. Okay,
Mhm.
the rules have changed. The traditional paradigms will have to be revisited, and many of them will probably become irrelevant.
Mhm.
So, given the many unknowns now, every prudent operator would like to see how this all comes out to play,
Mhm.
and would be very cautious in just expanding using the old store economic model, or the old ways of working. Okay, in our case, we had to take stock of our expansion plans, and we decided to also conserve cash. Okay, we need to make sure, for us now, cash is king. We got to make sure that we go
Mhm.
through this and be in a good position after to take advantage of whatever opportunities that come. So
Mhm.
as we realize that the rules are forever change, we decided to put a hold on all our expansion for now, and then we will have to redesign the new stores of the future for Shakey's.
Mhm.
Understanding that dine-in will not be as the usual as 60% of the sales. The only way things can go back to the old way is if we see a vaccine
Mhm.
for this coronavirus. But in our opinion, we don't see that happening in the next 18 to 24 months. Just to be very prudent,
Okay.
just to be very pragmatic. And so we have to uh, understand and have that mindset that everything has to be reviewed, everything has to be revisited. We always thought we had a very big advantage, and it was a strength for us in our expansion. We were very selective. We were always conservative in our estimates. That's why we had a very high success ratio for new store openings. We
Mhm.
take
That's
pride
right.
in that. But because again of so many unknown factors, we cannot be complacent, and we have to
Mhm.
redo the whole thing.
You've talked about the expansion of pizza, sir, but let me ask you about reopening your closed stores. Are there any challenges there? Like you've closed, di ba, as you mentioned, you've opened 75% already of your stores. But for the rest, are we just talking about the constraints given by the malls, or do you have a special category of constraints or considerations before you reopen a particular store?
The biggest constraint now will be ensuring that it will be safe. Okay,
Okay. All right.
whether you're outside the malls or within the malls, we've got
Mm-hmm.
to make
Yeah.
sure that the store is reconfigured and retooled, given the right
Mm-hmm.
additional protective gear, so
Mm-hmm.
that the safety of the guests and the employees are ensured. Second, we know that the consumer mindset and purchasing habits will change. Okay, they will not be as outgoing and it's also forbidden, I think, by the regulations to have big
Mm-hmm.
assemblies and big groups. Okay, so social distancing is also required. So the store will be challenged in terms of capacity. Easily, 50% seating capacity will be taken out. Okay, so that would
Mm-hmm.
be a big factor and a big challenge for stores, especially those in the malls that used to cater to very high dine-in component. And also the people, the employees, we have to come up with a plan where it would be more easier and convenient for them to report for work. So we've been reviewing reassignment and reassigning people. In the past, transportation was not an issue. Okay, it
Mm-hmm.
was long because of the traffic, but
Yes.
they pretty got used to it. But now we realize it would be best and ideal to have employees assigned near where they live. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so we're taking
Yeah.
advantage of this crisis to reorganize and reassign people to where it will be more convenient and safer for them. So that would be, I would say, the biggest three things: the safety thing, the consumer psyche and habits will change, and then even our own people, we will have to. Other than that, we would have to go back to making sure that we continue doing high quality products, serving them in a clean environment, and prioritizing the welfare and the experience of the guest. It will not change.
Oh, just to share with you also, sir, we took a survey from our customers, no, and our survey went like this: what are you going to do when they lift the ECQ? Are you gonna go out? Are you gonna eat out? Are you gonna watch a movie? And 50 to 60% of our customers answered they're gonna stay home. They're not gonna go out. So I think
True.
that's
That's
something
why, yeah, I think what our team has been doing
Mhm.
is that we have people doing nothing but monitoring what's going on out there,
Right,
not just
right.
in the Philippines, but more importantly in the other markets or in other countries where they would be like 4 to 6 weeks ahead, no,
Hmm.
of this
Hmm.
crisis. So we've been busy monitoring how consumers react, what do they want to do, and we see a wide range of different reactions in
Hmm.
markets like New Zealand and Vietnam. What we found out, the feedback we got was that they were so just excited to go home, to go back to their favorite
Hmm.
restaurants,
That's right.
and the government had to intervene
Hmm.
to strictly enforce social distancing and discourage people.
Hmm.
We also have, on the other end, markets like Singapore and China, which became more liberal, and then suddenly had to double down and then again enforce more stricter rules because there was like that a spike again. So what we are doing in Shakey's is we want to prepare for the worst,
Hmm.
but also be ready to pounce on the opportunities. And I think uh, that works well with us because as a group, our agility and we've been more flexible and quick on the draw than it's part of the culture and habit of the team.
Okay, sir. Now, can you talk to us more about the performance of your open stores, sir?
Yes, I'll admit it's not the same again as
Okay.
before
Right.
because
Right.
dine-in is prohibited in the last ECQ. But having said that, we our data shows us that we were actually surprised at the growth that we had with the carry-out
Hmm.
and the
Okay.
delivery.
Hmm.
It was turned out to be far more bigger than what we originally planned for 2020, and that has been a big boost to us. That is why the team has been busy reorganizing and restructuring to that new normal. Okay,
Hmm.
um, it does help that our products have high margins. Okay, our balance sheet was healthy before the
Hmm.
crisis and strong, and you know this would allow us to continue facing this crisis with some confidence that we'll be able to go through this because a game plan is in place.
Hmm.
That's where we are. So We're planning for 60-70% recovery.
Mhm.
There could be an upside of that, and we should also
Mhm.
be ready for that. The downside is if the government does not execute the restrictions right, there could be a danger of a second wave, and then we have to be ready also to go back to what we're doing now to make sure
All right.
that we go through this very well.
Okay, sir. Now, 280 stores plus is a massive undertaking, sir. I'm sure it's a logistical symphony. So let's talk more about your supply chain, sir. Do you have any challenges recently in getting raw materials for your stores, sir?
We have again opened about 200 stores, 200 plus stores already, and we're gradually reverting to normal level. Our supply chains are working quite well. We have no
Okay.
major drastic disruption, so to speak. We have most of our key raw materials are in stock and on hand, at least on a 2 to 3 months basis. So we have actually been covered by this, and the reduced volume allows us to have supply until the balance of the year. So, and we were also able to avoid massive selling of our inventory because it is not again a major issue with us for now. So the supply chain area has been relatively trouble-free for the moment. Okay, so no issue, no major issue at that so far.
Okay, sir. You've mentioned a while ago that you have also some of your stores in malls, ano? Have you ever negotiated with the mall operators for rent waivers? Uh, not only for the mall-based branches, but also for the standalone stores. There have been some, some moves by the government to allow waiver of rent or postponement of rent. Is this a strategy that you did for pizza
Yes,
also?
yes. The rent is a major cost line item in the operating P&L, and right
Mhm.
after ECQ, moves were made to immediately try to reach out to our partner lessors and make them understand the situation and the business we are in and how it has impacted us. And so there's a dedicated team of people uh, monitoring what the government regulations are, what the industry feedback is. So we've been able to talk to all the lessors, and many of them have expressed their support. And so it's continuing up to now. The malls have finally come out with clear guidelines, so and we've imputed all of them. Um, Somehow, the all the major malls tend to have a similar approach on how
Mhm.
to address the rent issue. And I think in credit to the malls, they are fully aware
Mhm.
how this crisis has affected their tenants, and particularly the food, and how it
Mhm.
has disrupted. And it does make sense for them to work with us and the restaurant industry
Mhm.
because the bulk of their tenant list in the malls now is food. And if the food business does not work in the mall system already, then it's going to be totally different for them also.
Right,
So
right,
now
right.
that we have more solid and concrete directions from them, we are able now to impute that in our own plans. So
Okay.
yes, we've talked to just about every single lessor we have,
Yeah.
malls and otherwise.
Yes, sir. Being a major player in the food industry, sir, and being there for quite a long time, my next question is, how do you think will this coronavirus change consumer behavior?
Uh, I'm a consumer. Okay,
Yes, sir.
I have been eating out with my family. I've been ordering for delivery. It definitely will change big time. The consumer's attitude and habit. The safety thing will now be that top of mind. Okay, I think you must have been aware of some surveys made already, and you know, in the past, it used to be just the quality of the food and the taste that was
That's
the
right.
major factor. Safety has come out. as the number one
Mm-hmm.
factor now. So that's a
Yeah.
clear sign their mindset has changed. Their buying habits. So we realize that, and it just for us this crisis just further emphasizes to us why we always put importance on safety, cleanliness, and sanitation. And also the way they buy, they would just come in office reunions, like I'll get quick gatherings, 10
Mm-hmm.
people strong and up. That might not be as common. Okay, it
Mm-hmm.
would be smaller groups, 3 to 4, and a lot of individual consumption will be on the rise. So we're anticipating these changes, and then again coming up with a new way of executing operations that would allow us to adapt to the changed mindset and buying habits of the consumer. So safety, who they eat out with, what they buy. This crisis has also, by the way, shown us that their food adventurism will
Mm-hmm.
probably be waning down. No? In the past, there was just an explosion of new concepts and mom and pop concepts coming out everywhere. Now, that would be different, I guess. Now they would want to go back to their proven and standard brands and products that they are most comfortable with. Again, due to the concern on safety and the trust level that they have. So
Mm-hmm.
we've seen that. We've heard from our guests. Shakey's has always been guest centric, and for us, we think about everything we do here has to be in consideration of what the guest would see, what the guest would think, what the guest would feel,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a way of doing that because we also are the quintessential Shakey's guests. We always go to Shakey's and restaurants like Shakey's, so we have a feel on what they feel and what they do. So safety, where they buy, who they buy with, and even the frequency. They probably also do more delivery, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
than eating out.
Okay. Yes, sir. Now, how do you plan to, capitalize on this change in consumer behavior? Do you plan to realign your operations after your ECQ on a permanent basis?
Yes, yes, a big yes. Again, I would like to repeat for us and for me, the new normal will be different, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
It's going to be more towards safety, delivery, carry out, as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
dine in. And so our focus will have to switch to further strengthening or expediting the new technology, the new processes, the new products that we have that was
Mm-hmm.
more designed for that delivery and carry out function.
Mm-hmm.
And even before the crisis, we were looking at new novel way of convenience like curbside pickup and our own version of drive-through, right? So we will have to go to those things and see how we could optimize the shift by the consumer
Mm-hmm.
towards these categories, towards this area. That's what they want. That's what they will be demanding, and that's what we should be able to provide them in a superior manner than
Mm-hmm.
our peers. So yes,
Quick
it's going
question,
to
sir.
be a lot of work, but we're
Mm-hmm.
excited actually to do this, and
Mm-hmm.
we believe we're in a very good position to
Mm-hmm.
switch to that kind of mindset because we already have a very robust and stable platform on those areas of delivery and carry out.
Mm-hmm. That being said, sir, is Pizza looking to acquire any businesses in that regard, like an aggregator or an online channel for that matter?
Oh, that's a question that's we haven't really been thinking about that. What I do know, many will be affected, right?
Mhm. Right.
Many brands, some will not probably make it in this, and we think if there was one benefit I see from the crisis is the competition, the price wars, and all of those things will soften. People would think twice, thrice now before opening a restaurant now. Before, the barrier to entry in opening a restaurant was very, very low. Now, the numbers and the store economics have changed. The demand profile, the consumer's habit have changed. So people will be very wary and be very, very conscious and be very brave to actually go into the restaurant business now. So we see some, I expect some casualty to see, just like in other markets now. A lot of concepts have been fighting for bankruptcy. We will just have to see how it evolves. It's very fluid, Ed. That's why every week something can change, you know.
Yes, sir.
So we want to be always ready for whatever opportunities that come. I think that will be the most prudent position we can take.
Sir Vic, you've mentioned kanina that you are trying to change your business model into into something that's more amenable to delivery or picking up from your store. And you've mentioned kanina yung concept of curbside pickup. Paano ba gumagana yun?
Curbside pickup is actually not new. No? It's something that's very popular in the U.S. Americans would like to order food, but they don't want to go down. They just want to stay by their car, and the employees of the establishment just goes to the car and gives him his ordered products. It's, I think, a very good time to move ahead with this full speed ahead, because of the idea of being contactless, more convenience for the guests. So the way we see it, people can conveniently order their Shakey's products, the ones that they've been craving for, through web or through by mobile app, and it would be ready when they get to the store at a specific time. They don't have to worry. So it's going to be, we want it to be very reliable. We want it to be contactless and safe and very convenient. It's still takeout, but you don't have to go to the inside the store, to the counter. Our stores, especially the freestanding stores, they have a very big and ample parking space, right? So that's one of the advantage we have in Shakey's for those branches outside the malls, and so it's very convenient for our guests to just park by the curbside and then send us a message. They're there, and we'll be more than happy to go out of the restaurant and give them the food they order, handing it over to them directly by the window, or they can open their trunk and we can put it in the back. So that's the idea there: convenience and safety because of being contactless. It's exciting, actually. We experimented this a couple of years back, and it was not a priority for the guests. No? It wasn't really a big hit. But now, I think, because of this crisis, it has changed the thinking of the guests, and I think it will be a very good opportunity to roll out now.
Okay. All right. Mr. Gregorio, do you have any final message to our audience, sir?
Yes. Okay. I've been a restaurant guy all my life, 37 plus years now. And this is really different, okay? I thought I've seen everything, but this one is for the books. But it gives me some comfort knowing pizza has been going very strong for the last 16 years. We posted 16 consecutive years of double-digit growth. And I always knew there would be a time where that run would end. And for it to end in 2020, double-digit growth in top line and bottom line, there probably no better acceptable reason than a global pandemic, Ed, no? Because no single brand would be able to say that their sales by the end of this thing would have been much stronger than before, I think, in my opinion. So we take that in stride, take stock, sit down, roll up our sleeves, plan on how to adjust and adapt so that we can get out of this strong and be in a good position to continue our mission of wowing our guests and growing for employees, so that there's going to be life after this. There's always we know there will be an end to this. Okay, it's not going to be
Mm.
something that will be perpetual. It will just change. The ones who can adapt, the ones who are agile enough, the ones who are, have the passion for this business, I think will really be able to go through it and do well.
All right. Mr. Vic Gregorio, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Be safe, everyone.
You too, sir. Thank you.